Hey everyone, Sombre here. I haven't made a Dominions video for a bit, and that is because I have been working on a new nation for the Warhammer mod, which is Nagashizzar. So I thought I would make some videos while I'm testing it, just in single player, so you can have a look at the new nation, and I can look for bugs and things that I need to finish off. And then they'll be in the next update of the Warhammer mod, and you'll be able to play with them then. So it shouldn't be very long after I release the video. The nation is in the Middle Ages, like all the other Warhammer nations. I'm just making a random map to do this on. So I'll just play against some mighty AIs, and I'll just add a bunch of those in, and then we'll select our nation. Here they are. Nagash is our servant of undeath. A nation of undead led by followers of the original necromancer and lord of undeath, Nagash. So he's kind of the big bad guy of the Warhammer world, or at least he was originally. Before Archaon and some other kind of villainous characters became more of a focus. I will need to add, you can see these have got a bit longer descriptions, the other nations. I'm going to add longer descriptions for this, I just haven't yet, so it's kind of just a placeholder. So we'll be Nagashizzar, we'll let the others be random, and you can see the description is not very long here on this nation screen either. So, Nagashizzar, servants of undeath. Undead humans and spirits commanded by necromancers. Death and growth scales have half impact on income. They do have full impact on population loss, though. And also, your Dominion will increase death regardless of scale. So you're going to want to take death 3 and that's what I'll be doing, because you're going to end up at death 3 anyway because of that feature. Your military is made of corporeal undead and ethereal spirits. And your magic is strong death with astral, fire, and water. Very strong death, really. For instance, you've got the Leech of the Council, who is a native death 4. Your priests are below average. You mostly have, so you've got a level 2 priest here, but it's very expensive and cap only. Other than that, you've got a level 1 priest. And your Dominion increases death regardless of scales, we talked about. And your buildings are standard forts. Your forts are 25% more expensive, but you do start with a very nice and powerful fort that gives you 3 commander points right at the start of the game. This is your lineup. I'll just look at units as I'm playing and we'll go through them. And then, of course, you've got your site you start off with, the Black Pyramid. 5 death per turn, so very death focused. Allows the recruitment of these capital only things, the Mummy, the Morghast, Morghast Archai, then the Morghast Harbinger, and the Lich of the Council. Lich? I'm not sure. I'm going to say Lich. Yeah, so a lot of these units are kind of vampire counts as well have them, but they're maybe a little bit different in the Nagashizzar version. Some of them are unique to Nagashizzar, like the Mummy and the Morghasts. And there's some things which the Carrion Rides is a bit different from the Carrion that the Tomb Kings get. You get a chariot, which is similar to the Tomb Kings chariot. So you've got a kind of a mix of some vampire counts units and some Tomb Kings units, which I hope you would expect from a Nagashizzar nation. Yeah, the Black Pyramid site is, of course, featured on their flag, and I'm pretty happy with how the flag ended up. It's got a floating Black Pyramid above it and a Black Pyramid on the flag itself. You also have these 3 preview sites, which show that you've got a Zombie Dragon in your summons. You've got a bunch of other troops to summons as well, but they're not shown in the preview site because they're shown, you already know what they are. Luck-based multi-heroes, Master Necromancer and Lich of the Council, which are your slow to recruit mages. And then your luck independent heroes is Krell, Champion of the Dead, and Arkan the Black, the Lich King. And then he's not in this version, but there will be in the version that's released a spell to summon Nagash himself, and Nagash will appear in the summons bit, and you'll be able to have a look at him. But he's not quite in this version yet. I've done the graphics and everything. I just need to make some more tweaks before I put him in. Let's get going. We have a selection of pretenders. They're basically all death themed. I'm going to go kind of scalesy here because I find it useful for testing things. So maybe we'll take, let's see, could be kind of fun to have the Prince of Death, to be honest. Statue of the Underworld. No, I'm just going to say that we're using the Prince of Death. I'm going to take some death magic. Let's look at this. So death 3 definitely. I want to have magic. I'm going to be making lots of revenants as my researchers, and I'll be using magic with them. I don't really care about fortune misfortune that much. Hot and cold. Well, Maybe I should set this to heat 1. I'm not sure. Nagashizzar is like kind of up a mountain and it's north of Nehekara, so it's probably not very hot there. Yeah, maybe I'll just leave that as default. I'm going to take production and order, and I'm going to take a fair bit of dominion. I'm going to put the Prince Death to be dormant. And then I need more points, so I'm going to take. You know what? I'm going to have some misfortune. I'm going to leave the temperature scales neutral. And well, maybe we'll have an imprisoned Prince of Death. I'm not really thinking about what would be super strong here because this is just testing. New paths are very expensive, so let's just go very high in death and see what's like. What bless effects can we get? These are for incarnates, they're less interesting. Half dead, undead command, undying. Undying is good because we do have undead sacreds. The other stuff's less interesting. Withering weapons is not terribly interesting. Maybe the Prince of Death is just not a very good choice, or maybe we'll just go cheap. If we do that, can we take him dormant? We can if we just reduce something else. You know what? Let's go low dominion, take him dormant and do that. Because we can maybe equip him up and have him fly around and do some stuff that would be kind of fun. So bless effect, I'm just going to take Undying. Don't need Undead Command, got plenty of Undead Leadership. Don't need Half Dead because all my Sacreds are undead. So I'm just going to take Undying times 4, I think. It's not super important, really. Orcus? No, I don't think so. Let's call him Memento Mortis. I'll just leave all this how it is. Let's turn the minor story event score graphs on. It's fine. This is just testing. Let's allow ourselves renaming. Turn that off in case that ever. No, that should never trigger. Shouldn't matter. And I'll just skip this till the map's ready. In the beginning there was chaos. Now the wheel has turned once again. No starting message for Nagashizzar. I might add one. That might be a nice thing to have. Another thing that I've just recalled that I should probably add is a bit of wasteland survival. I don't think it's very important, but obviously mummies should have wasteland survival. And some of these other units, maybe the chariot should have wasteland survival, you know, because of the Tomb King's deserty theme. So we're starting off up here. We've got some bits around us. What's our starting army like? A bunch of basic long dead broadswords, a bunch of soulless warriors. And of course, we've got the Black Seven. This is the same starting army that the vampire counts I have, I believe. Pretty much. I don't know if it's strong enough to take anything on, really. Undead can't preach, but it's still probably worth having a prophet. I'm just going to make Boneheart our prophet, and Lyduk our revenant can just research until we know what's going on. So spells-wise, we've got a bunch of stuff in enchantment. This is the same spells pretty much that the vampire counts have. So corpse giants, you know, raising skeletons and things. It's very straightforward that you just research enchantment. You get a horde of skeletons as well, obviously, by doing that, which is a key spell for anyone with a lot of death. You also get, you know, raised dead. Yeah, horde of skeletons is the big one. So obviously going to be researching enchantment. Let's get enchantment up to. I mean, we probably just want to go for level 5 as quickly as possible. Conjuration has crypt ghouls in it, but nothing else at the moment. But it will have some spells to summon up more ghasts. I think I'm going to add, and then I'm going to put the Nagash spell in Conjuration to get Nagash. It'll be a unique summon of Nagash, and you can use it to bring him back if he dies as well. So that will be there. Right, let's recruit some things. So our sacreds are these Morghasts. These are very cool. They are basically kind of angelic beings that were sent to kill Nagash, and he animated them back when he was originally attacking Nehekara thousands of years ago. Then he's been defeated for a long time, but he's now bringing them back again because he's got the power to do so. So back come the Morghasts. The Morghast Archai is basically a heavier version of the Morghast. Very, very high protection, sacred. They're quite expensive, but they may turn out to be not expensive enough because they require no gold upkeep. Basically, all of your units require no gold upkeep. That's a very strong feature of the nation, so you can just be building units like crazy. But they are quite expensive in terms of resources. Not that expensive resources versus gold cost. And you'll note that we have quite a lot of points and things here at the start, because we do start with the Citadel of Power, which is better than the normal kind of fort that you start with, because Nagashizzar is such like a cap-centric place. I think I'm going to try and expand with long dead chariots. So these have got they're basically like long dead cavalry, but in a chariot, of course, and they've got okay protection, and then they've got a spear hoof composite bow. So let's try making some of those, and we'll also just have some more Skilly boys. Get a soulless? No, they cost too many resources. Yeah, so we'll just go with that early on, and then maybe we'll switch to more Ghast. We don't have much of a blast to make use of those. Mages wise, I'm going to be going into Revenants as much as I can. We've got a lot of commander points, so I can also have. See, none of these cost just the one commander point. So they're quite expensive. You can see the Lich cost 6 commander points, so that's 2 turns, no matter what you're doing. So I'm just going to say 2 Revenants like that. We'll build half of one. And in fact, that can be on repeat recruitment. So a theme that I'm going for with this nation is that it is kind of a horrible death nation. It's more of a horrible death nation than the Vampire Counts or the Tomb Kings are. They both like death, but not quite to this extent. And it's not so. I mean, vampires have like their blood spells and things, and they have a blood economy, and they use a lot of blood magic. This nation does not do that at all. It's not interested in blood. It's really very death based with a bit of alchemy, fire and water, and some astral to represent kind of dark magic and sorcery. So let us throw these lads in. Hold and attack rear. Stick the zombies at the front. Stick them in. That's fine. Can you preach? No, you're not allowed to preach. That's what I figured. You're only good at leading undead. No, you're not. You're just a scout. But you can go along and do Syllable of Death over and over and over again, which works out just fine for me. I might add in some spells to buff undead troops, but I'm probably not going to add them in as like holy spells. That's not really what this nation's about. It'll probably just be put in as death spells, just straightforward death magic spells that you'll have to research, and they'll give you various buffs that aren't usually in death. So we've got some chariots. We'll try those out. What else should we try out? Let's try out some of our carrion riders, perhaps. Only one resource. I might have to put that up a bit. That's very low resources. But yeah, you can buy a whole big squad of them and still have tons of resources. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. I think that's a bit low. Still doing 2 Revenants. Revenants are perfectly fine for leading our armies around. They have tons of undead leadership, just because of what they are. I might actually reduce the undead leadership a bit. Let me check why that is. That's pretty much just what they have in the vanilla game, so I might not change that, but it's a bit strange they've got so much. It makes you less likely to get White Kings, although the Revenant has map move 18. If you want to move things a bit faster, the White King has 24. And of course he does himself add quite a bit to your kind of fighting ability. They're pretty good for that. But he's not a mage, that's the crucial thing. Although, no, they're no upkeep. They're both no upkeep. Most of your mages do cost upkeep, including your liches. They do cost quite a bit because they're high gold cost, but not Revenants. All right, let's instead have. We could try out mummies, although they're only max 4 a month. The reason I took production was partly just to have tons of gold, but also some of these are a bit expensive in resources, like the Black Knights and things. And because I'm testing, I just want to be able to make things when I want to. Let's make some mummies and let's make some Black Knights, and we'll wait kind of a turn to see if we're going to get up to much. And we'll just make some zombies as well. Very cheap. So they're on hold and attack rear, so they get to shoot for a couple of turns, and then they're going to attack. We might have a bit of trouble here. I didn't think we would, but ooh, those chariots did absolutely great there, mangling those heavy infantry. Cheap chariots is a very nice thing to have. They may turn out to be too strong, you know. They cost no gold upkeep, and they don't cost very much in terms of gold. I believe they're 30 gold each. They are a bit frail, and the thing that they're really frail to is their magic resistance isn't terribly high, and their hit points are not terribly high. So if they get banished, that can weaken them quite a bit. In fact, their magic resistance... No, it is their base magic resistance is 12. I wonder if that's... Let me just check, actually. I think I'm going to shift that magic resistance down to 11. Just to give them a bit more of an obvious counter and make them a bit less good in early wars. Doesn't matter about this morale because this is all mindless stuff. So I think we can just carry on and hit another province. Let's go and do this one. That's fine. Are we going to try and take a province with our mummies? Ah, sweet little mummy boys. So mummies are not mindless. They have morale 30. Their weakness is they're very susceptible to fire. What is good about them is that they're bodyguards, which is nice to have. They are pretty tough, tons of hit points, okay protection, and they hit very hard. They've got 2 attacks. They hit very hard. The Grasp of the Tomb does decay on if it damages, and its magic resistance negates. And they've got an Ancient Tomb Mace, which is magic weapon, does blunt and piercing, and they hit pretty hard with it because they're so strong. So I mean they're not amazing mummies, but for the cost, how much are they each? Are they 35 or 40? I can't recall. Oh, 60. See that? I think I might be just pricing them a bit high there, but also it could be that I was just worried about the fact they have magic weapons. We do have quite a lot of magic weapons in this nation, and I would definitely rather have a Morghast looking at these stats. That's much more attractive to me than the mummy. So I think I'll drop the cost of the mummy. So I'm going to drop that to 50 gold, down from 60. That still might be too expensive, but we'll see. It's a bit more reasonable at least. And then I think we've got some mummies we want to try out. We're going to have some Black Knights. Maybe I'll back up the Black Knights with having some of these Long Dead Horsemen. They are mindless, aren't they? Yes. Again, Black Knights, their main vulnerability is being banished. They're pretty tough and scary otherwise. So we'll have some of them. Always worth having in the extra zombie when you can. And we'll keep doing Revenants. And I think this force is probably going to be capable of taking something, just because the mummies and the Black Knights are so strong. Let's send the Black Knights after the rear. Mummies at the front, we'll have them there. And militia and light infantry, I think we can probably do that. Let's give it a go at least. I have got the pop type mod, Warhammer pop type mod turned on, but I haven't yet added Nagashizzar to them, so you can see they're not getting the replacement population type, they're just getting these basic indies. But I think I will be adding that. This is an incredible site to get. The first site I take, and it's a great gold mine. It's a bit of a distorting one, isn't it, to have so much money so early on? Yeah, I'll definitely want to protect that. I'll just throw some PD in there. And normally I would be recruiting some extra skeletons or whatever here because I would have the Warhammer pop type, but I haven't done that yet, so I'll add that in at some point, but it's not there yet. Lots of gold still. We could afford a carrion. Should we do that? 50 gold each. If I get rid of a couple of those, I can afford 2 carrion. Let's give them a try. They're kind of interesting because they're not terribly tough, 30 hit points, 5 protection. They're big, they're going to get chopped up a lot. But an interesting thing about them is they do have this Spectral Rider attack, which is armor piercing with life drain. It's only 10 damage, but 10 armor piercing life drain damage is decent. And it's on top of all this stuff, and it gets to attack third, which means they'll have the defense malus from being harassed down from those original attacks. See how we go. This is probably not going to be a terribly long video. I really just wanted to kind of start off this series. And obviously I'm just testing as I go along. Battle in Vath. Probably important to get the pop type sorted out. So here are these mummies. I'm actually really happy with how that sprite turned out. This this nation is going for the feel of the kind of old school undead from the I guess really late 90s is when the undead that I was most familiar with, the Games Workshop did in Warhammer, which had these infantry mummies that were very tough. You can see mummies will get hit quite a bit, and they'll take damage. But they've got good affliction resistance, they've got pierce resistance, and although their protection is not very high, they have a lot of hit points and they kill things pretty good. So, they do okay. The Black Knight's more impressive at the back. They're just very, very tough, so chopping these guys up. Cavalry tends to be really good in Dominions. So yeah, we're kind of going for like a 4th edition undead feel. That's the main army book that I was getting inspiration from. Before the Tomb Kings existed, before the vampire counts were a separate thing. But I've decided to not have vampires in this because Nagash, famously was kind of betrayed or felt he was betrayed by the vampires and doesn't trust them. That's what the Morghasts are about. They're like almost like a replacement for the vampires, the Harbinger Morghasts. Quite pleased that worked. None of the mummies died, at least they haven't so far. It's possible one of them will get killed here. Ooh. No, all the mummies survived. We did get one pick up an affliction. He is crippled pretty bad, but, Forest of Eden. This was our original stack. So here, these guys are not so great, but we are relying on some smites, and we are relying on our chariots. But the big block of infantry in the middle will definitely kill some stuff. Long Dead are actually fairly good at fighting. Yeah, they do absolutely great. And then in go the chariots, just mulching everything at the back. Pretty vulnerable, but if you get a critical mass of chariots, they can kill stuff really well. We lost one Soulless Warrior doing that, and over here we lost a few Soulless Warriors. Soulless Warriors are like nothing. I saw the Distant Horizon is doing like a Skaven video at the moment, and of course he's losing lots of Skaven slaves and things, and it's like, oh, whatever, they're just rats. There's plenty more where that came from, but if there's one faction that has more just stuff, more chaff, more disposable troops than the Skaven, that faction is Nagashizzar for sure. It's even going to have tons and tons of mages, which is going to be very nice. Let's keep cranking those out. We can go underwater as well. We're pretty decent at that because we're undead. But I do want to take on some barbarians. How am I going to take on barbarians? I think over here... Could we beat the Lion Tribe? Or the Bear Tribe? Let's do Lion Tribe. It's a shame Mr. Boneheart got hit by something. You need to be a bit more careful, my friend. This is looking a bit like it would get killed by barbarians, I'll say that much. Tons and tons of Atavi over there. Maybe you will hang out for a turn there and wait for some reinforcements. Yeah, I think I'll just have Mort go and reinforce him. Still just going for some research stuff early on. Maybe I'll repeat. No, that's fine. We're going to get two of those. Next turn, maybe I'll switch over to some necromancers. Let's spend our hard-earned cash. What would we like to try out next? So this is a cool unit. The Nagashizzar Legionnaire. These guys are very similar to the Graveguard, but they're kind of elite Graveguards. They've got a formation fighter. They're a little bit more like the Tomb Guard that the Tomb Kings have, but they have this cool magic armor and magic weapons. So if you need magic weapons, this is a good choice for that. And of course, they work perfectly well underwater, so good for sinking resources into as well. This leaves us with a lot of spare gold, but of course, we've got the Carrion here. I might limit the Carrion's recruitment per turn, because since they're very, not limited by resources, I think people are just going to end up kind of dumping stuff into them sometimes. What would go well with the Nagash Legionnaires? Well, Graveguard, but they're very expensive in resources as well. long dead archers. We could have some of those. Save a bit of money for another fort. Seems okay, doesn't it? Bone door tower. Let's knock on that bone door. That sounds like some horrible euphemism. So Lion Tribe, I'm not expecting them to do very well against me because we have good resistance here. We do have shields even though they're rotten. So I expect our infantry will do just fine, and then our chariots will carry the day at the back here. Are we going to get their leader? Eventually, maybe. Chariots are doing amazingly well, aren't they? Yeah, look at that. Just lost a few long dead. Very nice. So, let's put these together. Nice thing here is, again, don't really care about the morale, but there is one unit I have to care about the morale, which is the carrion riders. They are quite happy to fly away because they still have the kind of animal instincts, so I have to watch out for their morale. Their morale is going to be terrible with things like this. Oh yeah, can't mix mindless and non-mindless. Well, I don't really need this. I'll just leave him behind. I think I'm going to go hold and attack rear on the carrions. Just put them out of the way. And yeah, mummies and these guys, this is the main thing that's going to kill the enemy. The mummies are just up the front. Can't use formations, of course. I'd need a White King to do formations. I'm pretty sure they give us up formation options. No, they don't, in fact. That's interesting. Maybe I should change the White King so that he is not a great leader, but he can let you do formations. That might be very interesting. Or we could get the Harbinger. He also can't do formations. Yeah, maybe I need to change them so that you can do formations. The Harbinger is basically just the leader of a bunch of Morghasts. He can bless them, which is nice. He can make flying squads. So maybe I'll make that next. If I take away those, and I will start making a Necromancer. So we're going to have a Harbinger, so let's give him some troops. We'll give him 2 Archies and... Oh, we run out of holy points. 2 Archies and a Morghast, that's absolutely fine. And we could send some other flyers with them. We could send some Carrion Riders, that might be fun. Big squad of Carrion Riders to go with the Morghasts. Got some resources left over, looks like, so yeah, I'll just spend some on a Nagashizzar Legionnaire and, I don't know, some zombies. It's fine. So over here, more Lion Tribe. Do the same thing again. Go here and do Crossbowmen. Let's go here. Well, no, let's get things in our dominion. That's more interesting. Would like to deal with the Amazons. I tend to overestimate how dangerous Amazons are. Anything with a priest is going to be a pain, and I think Jade Maidens have a priest level. Over here, send you back. Jinnud, do you want to fight barbarians? No, you want to fight Bear Tribe. Let's go and fight some Bear Tribe. Research and jump is completed. As we climb up this, we get a lot stronger magically. Druidland and Stornwood. Should probably start building a second fort soon, since we can. So this should be fine again. Let's put it on super fast. Our infantry will do okay against their infantry. And in go our chariots. Yeah, that's a very repeatable tactic. And the chariots have performed amazingly for their cost. Let's check the cost of those. They are, I believe they're 30 gold each. Yeah, for a 30 gold troop, they've done fantastically well. So I might need to make them slightly more expensive. I have already put their magic resistance down a bit, but yeah, maybe they need to be a bit more expensive or otherwise limited. They cost at the moment 30 gold, 19 resources, 15 recruitment points. Yeah, I think I'd pretty much always rather have them than Long Dead Horsemen. And Long Dead Horsemen aren't bad. What was our other battle? Stornwood, was it? So here we are attacking rear. We've got some Carrion Riders who I don't expect to do very much, to be honest. There's not enough of them. And we've got this heavy cavalry, which is going to do just fine. Oh, we might have got the timing right. Well, we've killed their barbarian leader at least. Maybe the carrion will go and get him. It's possible. Nope, they're coming around the back and they're going to help us over here. So you can see they're just very vulnerable, the carrion riders. They're getting chopped up a bit. And their life drain's helping them a bit, but yeah, just kind of vulnerable. I do like the graphic I did for them. If you remember the old carrion models, it had this tiny little rider on it, like a little mini wraith. Always reminded me of Death of Rats from Terry Pratchett's books, like a tiny little death. Looks like our mummies have not done very well over here, and have got chopped up by these bear tribe. I'm going to rewatch this because I want to see exactly how badly they did. I was kind of just relying on this force to go and smash the stuff at the back and kill their commanders. I knew the mummies wouldn't do very well. They're expensive, but one of them can't get in the fight because he's crippled, and there's just not enough of them, so they're going to get hit a ton. And bear tribe hit pretty hard, 16 damage. It's not nothing. They'll definitely kill some, but they don't have the protection or defense. They're just getting chopped up. But yeah, they do still kill a few. They do okay. Definitely 60 gold was overpriced for them, or at least that's what I'm thinking at the moment. Let's just zoom through this and see what happens. Yeah, so we do win, but we lose our mummies. Well, this is why we do a bit of testing, just to see if the costs we've got are roughly right. I'm never going to get the balance exactly right, and I'm pretty notorious for having some bad balance in my mods when there's new versions come out of them. I'm okay with that. I like to get feedback from people on, just get a second opinion on things. Maybe people will try some things out that I didn't think of trying. All right, so let's go at the back. Now here is something. You've got a flying commander, who is a priest, which is very exciting, and flying troops. Look at the range that we can reach, because they're undead flying troops. Kind of a Kalian style thing going on here. So I want to have them sit back and do 2 blessings, and then it's not a good idea to have my commander attacking people, but I'm going to do it because I'm interested in seeing how they can do, and they do have good stats of protection and everything, so they should be okay. And they will also be on hold and attack rear. Except maybe some of them will be on guard commander. Yeah, that seems okay. We're building up a bit of a land army. Maybe we'll build some troops to go and deal with the Amazons. Let's have some graveguard. Really, even with my production, I just don't really have. Don't feel like I have quite enough resources. So we're gonna have 2 necromancers this turn. And if we're gonna go and deal with Amazons, maybe just about. Well, they've got pointy weapons. They are pointy boys. Let's get some long dead. Long dead and graveguard, and what I've got in there should be enough to get and take them. Haven't quite got enough to do any temples or anything. Is this army? They lost all their mummies. I think I could take that. We just go straight in the middle. Oh, we can do formations. Now that's interesting. Why can we do formations? I'm guessing that's just because he's such a good undead leader that he can do formations for undead things. Guess that's how that worked. I thought you had to be a good living unit commander to do that. Let's have a look. Givlato, can you do formations? You cheeky devil, you can do formations. Okay, well I take it back. I don't need to make any changes. I just was imagining that I did. Okay, let's try and make it so that they're in a sparse line. They're able to catch people that are heading towards our lovely revenant there. Jinud. And let's go and take this province. I think we can do that. Over here, let's take this province. Very good expansion for not very much cost here. My starting army is doing great with just a few extra things, those chariots in particular. So yeah, I'll consider the cost of those. And our flying squad, that looks quite weak, doesn't it? Maybe I'll just go and hit a weak province and see how they do. So I'm probably going to leave it after this turn. We'll have a look at the results of this. I've got a couple of things that I want to change. I need to add in Nagash and so on. But yeah, this series, I'll maybe keep doing this. I don't know, because people generally don't tend to be super interested in watching me play single player games. You tend to prefer like my nation overviews and things, and I think that's the better content. But since I need to be doing some stuff to test Nagashizzar anyway, I figured why not record it? Maybe people will enjoy it a bit. Let's look at our flyers first. Some squawky boys and some bony boys. Pretty happy with how the graphics turned out here, and I think there's kind of a unifying theme to the graphics, which I like. Hopefully we're going to command a sniper, at least get the crossbowman. Let's see how we do. We're in on a commander snipe, potentially. Oof, Carrion not lasting very long in combat, as usual. Morghast is doing absolutely great, though, just hacking stuff up. Now, the interesting thing with the Morghast, you can see we've got some Solus here that I didn't put in. The Morghast weapons, Morghast blades, anything they kill will rise as a Solus being. So these guys can create a distraction by creating these Solus warriors, and can help distract from things that would otherwise be, hitting them. So very effective, and potentially a very strong sacred. We did lose a Carrion Rider though. Yeah, they're quite expensive and they are cap only. And they have an obvious weakness. They have high magic resistance, but they are undead, which means, it doesn't matter how much protection they have if you're just hitting them with like Wither Bones. Not Wither Bones even. Dust to Dust. Dust to Dust only requires Death 1. So it's very easy for people to get. Oof, I don't know about this. What do we think? Our chariots could carry the day, but our infantry is very depleted by this point in expansion. I didn't realize there would be quite this many enemies. These are just militia, so they're not going to get through the infantry that quickly, but heavy infantry would do well. On the other hand, we could command a snipe here. Let's put it on fast and see what happens. Look at this. It's nearly a commander snipe. No, we didn't kill them all. And there go the chariots. They just can't last that long. Oh, but the independents are routed, and our beautiful revenant still on the field, casting some zombies, and off they run. Funny stuff. So this is our heavy cavalry against whatever. Hopefully they go after these. Otherwise they're going to walk over there and stab my revenant. Let's see what they do. Okay, they did, so that's fine. So you can see banishment there. That long dead rider just disappeared. That one missed, thankfully. Oh, we've got a chance to go and kill the priest. Yeah, Black Knights. Oof, there goes one of the Black Knights. They're great, but they are quite expensive, and they are somewhat fragile. And if they get banished, you can see just one priest casting a banishment is easily going to pay for himself. Come on, Black Knights, you can do it. Sweet. So we're taking lots of losses in our expansion, other than with the Morghasts. Oh, that's sad to see. Okay, what a limp. I guess there are worse things to happen to a flying commander than a limp. But yeah, nice to see my horrible Black Pyramid purple flag going up everywhere as I butcher people. You can see that the population is declining. We have these very quick going to death 3 scales. Outside of our dominion, it doesn't happen. But within our dominion, no matter what your scales, if you decide for some bizarre reason to try and go for growth 3, I think you'd still end up with death 2 or 3, maybe 1, 2 or 3 every turn as your growth scales fight against this constant death effect that's built into the nation. But yeah, you can see then there's going to be plenty of population loss. There's no population loss built into the nation except having death scales. So it's not like with Ashen Empire Ermor, where you're like, oh, anything that they've taken over, they just like raze to the ground. There's just ashes. They're horrible. Like you have to get rid of them as quickly as you can, or you don't want to fight them because you don't end up conquering territory that's worthless. But you have to bear in mind there will be a fair bit of population loss. The population is just going to die off, and your economy is going to decrease. But your troops don't cost upkeep, so every time you are buying troops, they're like a permanent investment ball until they get mulched. Yeah, that's Nagashizzar. Hopefully, I'll make a few more videos in this little testing and single player session. Hope you've enjoyed watching. I will catch you another time. Bye for now.